Welcome to Washington, East to West Sports. This is episode 105. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Nasty Billy 22, and Kevin is at C2Believe. That's SEA2Believe on X or Twitter, whichever you prefer to call it. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell us what you think of the topics we talk about in the comments below. We are going to start with Megan Rapinoe's final farewell tour. She is back from the World Cup and back with the OL Reign. She is playing against the Orlando Pride in Lumen Field this Sunday, September 3rd at 3 p.m. So if you're able to go, awesome. Otherwise, it's going to be on Fox 13 Plus and Paramount Plus. Then they are at home against Racing Louisville FC on Wednesday, September 6th. That is going to be on CBS Sports if you can't go to that. And then they are in Portland on Saturday, September 16th at Providence Park. That's on Paramount Plus or Fox 13 Plus. And then she's got a few more games in October to wrap up the regular season. There could be some playoffs, so these might not be the absolute final games, but the last game in Lumen Field regular season wise is October 6th, Friday. That is against the Washington Spirit. That's going to be on CBS and Paramount Plus. So please support the OL Reign and Megan Rapinoe as she comes to the end of her career. We got a little bit of hockey news to talk about right before we get into our meaty Seahawks and Mariners discussion. This one's going to hit Sean a little differently because Joonas Donskoi, he is or was a Kraken. He was with the Sharks for a long time before being taken by the Kraken in the expansion draft. And he has officially retired after 7-year career, mostly with the San Jose Sharks. He was 31. He had suffered his 7th concussion in September 2022 and decided to finally call it a career. He was the one who scored the game-winning goal for the San Jose Sharks in Game 3 of the 2016 Stanley Cup Finals. Didn't end up resulting in a cup, and that still hurts for Sean and his Sharks hat on. But Sean, are you sad about Joonas Donskoi?
It wasn't intentional, but yeah, the Kraken never got to see a healthy Joonas Donskoi, the playmaker. He had kind of like an adjustment period, had some assists, but really couldn't put anything in the back of net. He's really creative, but had a concussion at the beginning of the year and in the preseason, I believe, and then never played last year. Just sucks to see someone go out like that. So, yep.
My apologies, my cat wanted to get in the window, but yeah, Jonas, he was only on the Kraken for one season, but I was a Sharks fan along with Sean until the Kraken became a thing. So, he was a great player for them for a while, had that big goal in the Stanley Cup Finals, and it's unfortunate that the concussions cut his career short, but if you've ever had a concussion, it is certainly something that having 7 of them, I don't know how anybody could go through that and want to keep playing. So, hats off to Jonas for a solid short career, but solid nonetheless. And hopefully he'll find his place in retirement. And I'm hoping he'll be back in hockey somehow because he's a guy who probably has some knowledge that hopefully he could pass along to some junior hockey players or something like that. So, wish all the best to Joonas Donskoi. But let's talk. We've been off for a couple weeks about the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm not going to talk about the preseason games or stats or anything. They beat the Vikings 24-13. I think we went over that one. Then they beat the Cowboys at home 22-14, and then they lost on Saturday in the preseason finale at Green Bay 19-15. Did you guys watch any of these games? I watched a little bit of we watched the Cowboys game when I was home visiting Sean and the family. Watched a little bit of the Packers game, but not a whole lot. Is there any preseason takeaways, Kevin? We haven't heard from you yet. Were there any preseason takeaways from you, and how much do you love Jake Bobo?
I mean, yeah, for a kid that nobody knew who the fuck or who the heck he was,
I already said
yeah. Yeah, I mean, he showed some impressive stuff. Now, was it against all first team the whole time? No. I don't really take much because Seahawks fans have kind of dived into this into the past where like some undrafted dude like gets hot in the preseason and people are like, oh my God, play him. And it's like, there's a reason why we don't play him because we have better players. Now, if we don't have better players and they start doing good against like ones during the regular season, aka like what Doug Baldwin did, then yeah, then you have something to look at. But I mean, he's technically depth. Um, you know,
Does he even make the roster? I think that's a real question.
yeah, that is a good question.
I think he does.
Probably just because they're going to probably not. The guy that got the was it DUI or abuse?
T.S. Bridge,
He's going to be on the team, but he is suspended for 6 games or 6 or 4.
I think
4?
six,
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jackson also has a broken hand, so yeah, you got to hold a couple guys extra, right?
Yeah. The play from Radigan at linebacker was pretty solid for the most part. From the little bit I saw, I saw all the first game, and then I just saw like highlights of the second and third game. Though actually, no, I did watch the final quarter of the third game because it was on when I was doing a tournament. But I'll say also Drew Lock. Like Drew Lock actually has looked solid. Like I mean, yeah, he is going against 2s and 3s, but I mean, he did have, there's probably some 1s in there from time to time. So like, I'll say Drew Lock. I mean, other than the first game was a little shaky, but game 2 and game 3, you like Locks looked okay for a backup. So, kind of makes me more. Now, if Gino goes down, do we have a shot? No, of course, but I mean, at least he'll make games kind of interesting a little bit. Like I think he could get you 2 touchdowns a game. But well, especially with the weapons, if you have the full scale weapons out there, you should be able to. But other than that, I'm just hoping my boy Kenny Pickett makes his fucking team because he's a stud and deserves playtime over some other people. There's a lot of people wondering if DJ Dallas is going to make this team. I think he should.
Did you say Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, you said Kenny Pickett, Kenny McIntosh.
Oh, sorry, McIntosh, whatever,
Yeah, I was like,
what?
Yes, we took the Steelers quarterback,
Yeah.
But
I saw that, Kevin, about DJ Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he deserves to be cut over some of these nobody guys who had a decent like preseason just because DJ Dallas has shown it in the past against ones. These guys have not shown it against ones. There's just no point. I'd rather just take the proven what we've seen what DJ Dallas can do against ones, and it's solid. So I'd rather just have that versus the question mark of one starts with an S, and I forgot the other guy's name, but
Thompson, I'll talk about him.
Yeah.
Roderick Thompson Jr.
It sounds. Oh, and then the WSU wide receiver, Winston
Aesop.
Aesop
Winston Jr. Yeah.
It's been pretty impressive. Though according to his Twitter, it sounds like he might not have made the team because he had some very sad tweets today. Yeah. So he's got like kind of questioning life. Like I was just like, oh God, and people are like, I mean, because they can only put so many receivers on this team. So, and you already have 3 that you know of.
Yeah, I mean, you have 4. D's gonna make the team regardless if we want him to or not. So,
other than that, nothing really much that's really surprised me. We know what everything else is going to kind of line up, and we'll see how it goes.
Sean, any thoughts on what you've seen in the preseason?
Okay, so we talk about wide receiver. I think Jake Bobo is going to make the team pretty easily. I mean, Young and Thompson, I just haven't seen much from. Maybe that they're showing off in camp or something, or I haven't looked like snaps if they're playing a lot. I saw Thompson get a little bit of play time against the Packers, but didn't really show much. I will say that maybe the Jake Bobo show is getting a little overhyped. Some of the things he's been doing have been nice, but a lot of them, like in the Minnesota games, were just like he ran a very simple route, and the Minnesota like 4th string, like 7th corner on the roster just forgot to cover him. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, he caught it, but like no one's in around him. So like I don't know if Jake Bobo really made that play. He did have one nice catch and route in the Green Bay Packers game for a touchdown. That was nice. But I'm just like, in general, he's looked solid enough. I think he deserves a shot. Young, I don't know if he's done much. And again, maybe these are like I don't know how much he's playing. Maybe he's not playing because kind of like Kenny McIntosh, maybe he's already got kind of a spot locked up because of how he's been practicing or something. We don't know that obviously, but I think from what I've seen play wise, I have noticed Jake Bobo and not noticed Young or Thompson. As Kevin's point, I've noticed Aesop Jr. I will get to this, I think, and then I'll go that I'll say that I think they'll have to keep an extra, at least one extra, because of the broken hand of D. Eskridge. I mean, right now, Cody Thompson's your third projected right now. So I'm just, it's just, I mean, they're going to run a lot of two tight end sets in the beginning, maybe even three, just to get to not have to use Jake Bobo a ton or Cody Thompson or Drake Young, whoever makes his team. But I think Thompson Jr., the running back, has actually looked the best out of all the running backs that have played. Now, Kenny hasn't played because he's been hurt, and Kenneth Walker, he suited up. Did he actually play maybe like a series? Did he play a series? I think.
I can neither confirm nor deny. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know if he played even at all. I swore he no, he did not. He did not play. He did not get a touch. But Charbonnet looks solid. But Thompson just seems to get, and now he's playing like the third string guys, but he gets the most out of the carries of everybody. He did cut it one time, like out against the Packers, where I was like, oh gosh, why are you going outside? But other times he cuts it outside and gets a lot. So I was like, he deserves a spot on this team. I think Walker, Charbonnet, Kenny, and Thompson definitely deserve. DJ Dallas is fine and everything, but I think what would keep DJ Dallas, and the only reason why I think he's going to be on the team, is because of his kick return game. Because I don't know who's returning any kicks other than DJ Dallas. Like they have Eskridge as the other guy to return kicks, and that ain't happening for 6 games for sure. So and then the other guy we just talked about, Kevin talked about, Aesop. I'm like, he might get cut. So I'm like, you literally don't. None of these guys you have on the depth chart that you've had return kicks or anything is like we might not know who's on the roster. So if they cut DJ Dallas, like they also have Jackson Smith as another kick return guy. That's not happening. The other guy, the 6th guy they have, is Trey Brown. If they cut DJ Dallas, it might be Trey Brown returning kicks. And I'm just like, just take a knee every time. What are we doing here? So might as well have Jason Myers out there, get some snaps for him. So I think maybe that's why to bring up Kevin's point, I think Aesop also makes it. If DJ Dallas is cut, I think Aesop kind of has to make it because they had to have somebody physically able to return a kick. And that also, my gut tells me Aesop doesn't make it and DJ Dallas does because of the kick return abilities. I think that's it. But yeah, that's kind of the opposite of that. Matt Gotel, I'm pronouncing that name wrong. I know it. Defensive tackle has looked really good in the preseason across all 3 games. Mafe was fantastic in the first game and a half, and then didn't play much after that. So it's been that's been really nice to see. Kevin said right again. Ben Burkervin, when he played, he just makes tackles. Like not a big guy, not like some crazy dude, but like kind of Kevin's point to Doug Baldwin. You don't look at Doug Baldwin and be like, that's a great NFL wide receiver, but he just gets the job done. Like Ben Burkervin, like he just makes the tackle. Like, and a team that can't tackle, like he got one-on-one outside against Green Bay Packers running back. The
Aaron Jones.
No, he didn't play. Quad father.
Dillard. Dillon?
He slowed him down and then basically tackled him. And I'm like, one-on-one, that guy's tiny. And Ben Burkervin's tiny, and Dillard is running over everybody. Dillon was running over everybody, and Ben Burkervin slowed him down and tackled him. I'm like, that is what you need. Like your linebacker needs to tackle people, and he did the job. And so I'm like, I just like, as a Cougar, like it kills me to say it. Like he deserves more playtime. I get it. Like it doesn't look pretty, and he's probably out of assignments all the time. But I want someone who could freaking tackle, and he seems to always freaking tackle the guy who comes near him. And I don't get how he does it because he's so small, but he does it. So. Michael Jackson has just been absolutely horrible this preseason. I don't want to look too much into his preseason, but it's just like it because he's playing a bunch. He played a bunch in the Green Bay game and got torched. Like every game, he's just getting torched, and I'm just like, I don't want to look into it because he was pretty good last year, but it was a small sample size last year. It's a small sample size now because he's definitely trying. It's not like he's not trying right now. So I'm a little worried about Michael Jackson. Maybe that's why he drafted Witherspoon. But I'm just like, oh man, like it didn't look great. And speaking of guys who can't tackle, well, oh gosh, where is he at? Kobe Bryant got ran all over in that Green Bay Packers game. Like that man can't tackle anything right now. So, but yeah, other than that, I liked that. That's who I like on defense and offense. Other than obviously the starters and people we don't have to really talk about, but yeah, Kevin's point. Drew Lock looked solid. I would say he looked solid. He's not gonna do you like the Geno Smith can create a little bit, maybe run a little bit, throw some nice, like some really good balls, like we saw in the Saints game, like the entire game basically. Drew Lock's never gonna do that, but he's gonna do enough, and he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be like a guy who kind of like you can point and click, like you just fire, run the offense, kind of do some things. But like Kevin said,
Kind of had one in Green Bay I saw, like where it was a broke play. He kind of scrambled and threw that nice deep ball.
He
Like,
threw a deep ball to Bobo too outside, but it's just like in general, it's like I mean, like Geno's throwing a triple coverage to Tyler 40 yards downfield. He's never gonna do that, and it's just like it's fine. And Drew Lock, that's not what you need a backup for, anyways. But yeah, he's been fine, and yeah. What do you think, Matthew?
Yeah, I haven't watched. We watched most of the Cowboys game when I was over there, and I thought that much like you guys, I thought Drew was pretty solid for the most part. He had that one dime to Jackson Smith and Jigba, which ended up breaking his wrist, unfortunately. But I don't know if it was from the catch of the fall, but either way,
it was the fall. They showed it when he planted. Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's just I think Drew Lock as a backup is perfectly serviceable. So no offense to Drew, I hope we don't go to you. I hope Geno crushes it and we just do well, Geno. But it's nice to know that the guy that will come in, if that is not the case, can hopefully be serviceable and keep the offense somewhat moving. So that was good to see. I personally would cut D. Eskridge. I see no reason to keep him on this team at this point. He hasn't shown me anything through his time here to keep him on this roster. And I think there's some younger guys who I would rather have, like a Jake Bobo or a Cody Thompson or an Easop Winston Jr. I don't see any reason to keep D. Eskridge at this point. Personally.
I think we all probably agree with you. It's more of like what we think is probably going to happen.
Yeah. I don't think they'll cut him.
Like he's probably not here or shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I don't personally see any reason to keep it going at this point. Like he's not going to be there for the physics games. He's going to be the fourth guy. Let a younger, or maybe not even a younger, a rookie or a first or second year guy see if they can prove themselves. I think we pretty much have an idea of D. Eskridge at this point, and he's constantly hurt, and he just you got to stay somewhat healthy and also not suspended. So I would personally cut him at this point. Other than that, I don't have too much takeaways. Like Sean said, I did like Boye Mafe for that first half of the Cowboys game for the most part. But other than that, the defense was like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jackson seemed to like be involved in every play in the Dallas game. It seemed like they were always somehow getting thrown at or thrown near. It was so it was real weird, and obviously, if you get thrown at a lot, you're not perfect. You're going to get balls caught. But Michael Jackson didn't look great, like Sean mentioned. But at the same time, if you get the ball thrown at you every time, you're not going to, like I said, you're not going to be perfect. So I do want to just chalk up to preseason, then just kind of throwing targets at him and see what he does. And hopefully he learns from it during the regular season. But I don't think there's any cause for concern at this point. But other than
Matthew, like with Woolen and Witherspoon, he's gonna be targeted. Like nothing's gonna change in the regular season. And in the regular season, you're gonna have a quarterback and actual wide receiver running around out there.
Well, yeah, but also you will have the full complement of actual starters, so that will change dynamics from a pass rush standpoint, from a linebacker standpoint, from a secondary standpoint in general.
I don't know about a Seahawks pass rush. That might be the same.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how it all comes together, but it's not. I mean, if quarterbacks want to try and target Michael Jackson during the season, I think that hopefully the defense will try and adjust and either bring a safety over or just move Michael Jackson onto perhaps a lesser, maybe like a slot receiver who doesn't get the ball, like a Cooper Kupp or something like that. Something to kind of match up, play it a little bit more to help Michael Jackson out a little bit if they can.
Time out.
So.
Did you just? I know it's probably a slip, but did you say a receiver who doesn't get the ball a ton, like a Cooper Kupp?
Well, no. Not, like I'm saying, like a slot receiver who is not Cooper Kupp, who does not
okay.
particularly play out of the
I was
slot
gonna say,
all
I
the
think
time.
he gets targeted the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Of everybody.
And you know, a lot of receivers do move in and out of the slot depending on the formation. So obviously, it's not going to be necessarily as simple as you cover the slot guy who's not Debo or Brandon Ayuk. You know, it's not going to be as simple as that. So hopefully, Michael Jackson will kind of figure those things out as it goes along. And he was also solid last year, and getting the first few games out is good to get that sort of stuff out, and hopefully that corrects itself as the season goes on. But couple things we mentioned: Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jamal Adams was activated off the physically unable to perform list. Him and Reek Woolen, which is in this story by Brady Henderson, as well as Jordan Brooks, were also brought back off the physically unable to perform list. And Woolen and Brooks are both expected to be ready for the opener on September 10th at home against the Los Angeles Rams. Adams is still in question. They did sign Julian Love, so I just want to ask you guys: do you think Jamal Adams will be out there week 1? I personally don't think so, but I would love to see him out there. Sean, what do you think?
No, and he shouldn't be. He won't be healthy by then. So, just be healthy. We already saw this with Russell Wilson last year. Don't play guys who are like 80% and can't do stuff. Like, I get that sometimes the players want to play and everything like that, but if it is greatly hindering your ability, especially with like a backup you've signed or trust or something like that, let the backup play. I get Jamal wants to be out there, but at a certain point, you need to do what's best for the team and the player. And what a 60% Jamal Adams is not better than Julian Love. Like, it's just not. So let him be healthy when he comes back. Same with Smith and Jigba. Like, everyone's like, oh man, he'll be ready in 2 weeks. I'm like, bones just don't. We talked about this last year with Russell Wilson, or 2 years ago. Bones just don't heal. They heal at the same rate for everybody. It's 8 weeks until he's going to be 100%. Now he'll be cleared like 4 weeks where he can't do any more damage to it, but he won't be healthy for 8 weeks minimum. That's just how bones heal. So don't have like we should be talking about Smith like after the bye week. You don't have to rush this guy before the bye week. Week 5 is their bye. So just you don't have to do this.
Well, they didn't place Jackson Smith and Jigba on IL, so that appears to tell me with what he just missed this week. So 2, 3 at the opener, 4 in week 2. So week 3.
That means they're going to play a rookie hurt. Like, I'm just like with a broken bone in his hand. Okay, that's just like, come on.
Like I would agree with you, Sean. I don't want to see him until after the bye week just to be sure, but probably a rookie wants to get out there, show himself, and I don't see trainers or Pete stopping him. Kevin, what do you think?
Well, first I have to correct Sean. Bones can heal faster with Russell Wilson's healing water.
Nano bubbles. Sorry, I forgot.
I mean, you forgot about that. Jeez.
I forgot about the nano bubbles. That was
they solve concussions. They heal bones. Like, it does everything.
That was how many years ago now? That was like what, 7 years ago or something like that.
Oh, the healing water incident. I think
nano bubbles.
I want to say it's no. It was probably like 5.
Yeah, it was like 5 at least. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah.
But yeah. Do I think he'll play? Probably, just because he's dumb and he'll rush it, kind of like he did when he came back at the end of the season with his hand all taped up and he couldn't like actually grab a ball with his hand, just because he wants to play and he's kind of selfish like that. Should he play? No. So it's kind of a 2-part. So
2015 Russell claims he healed a concussion with miracle water he invested in. Keep going, Kevin.
So 7 years ago. Oh, took a shot in the dark.
Wow.
Took a shot in the dark. Okay.
But yeah, I think he'll play just because, like I said, he wants to play and he's gonna go against what doctors tell him. He's gonna probably drop a interception that he should have caught. So that Jordan Love could have caught, type of deal. Sean kind of pretty much nailed it to where, like, yeah, he's just not going to be level of Julian Love up there, so why play? But was there any other questions?
That was pretty much it. That was pretty much
Yeah,
it. All right. Well, the Seahawks open the season September 10th at home against the Los Angeles Rams at 1:25 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, unless you're in a different time zone, then you'll figure it out. We will have our NFL preview, our Seahawks preview, as well as our predictions next week, and we will probably be joined by a special guest, none other than JT the Ginger. So go ahead and let us know what you think of the Seahawks preseason. I am at Matt. Sean is at Nasty Billy 22. Kevin is at C2Believe. That is SEA to Believe on Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Comment, like the video. Tell us what you like, dislike. And we are going to take a quick break, and we are going to come back and talk about the leading AL West Seattle Mariners. That's right. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Washington East to West Sports. I'm Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardahl. And we are back to talk about the AL West leading Seattle Mariners. That's right. You heard that correctly. No, your stream isn't off or anything weird like that. It is the AL West leading Seattle Mariners. I'm not going to go through the schedule while we were away, but it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. They took 3 out of 4 from Kansas City, swept Houston, took 2 of 3 from Chicago, all that on the road. Then they came home, swept Kansas City in the most recent series, and then they won tonight 7-0 at home against the Oakland A's. So, Sean, what have you thought of the Seattle Mariners in the last few weeks?
I mean, the last few weeks they've lost one game. How can you be sad about it? I mean, they swept the Houston Astros in that. They beat. I saw someone online complaining that they beat a bunch of nobodies, and I was like, well, they swept the defending World Series champs in the middle of that too. So you play the teams in front of you, and as Kevin wants, they're sweeping these teams in front of them. They're not even like winning series. They're literally just sweeping them. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They've won 12 of their last 13. It can't be any better than it is right now. The bats are coming up. Honestly, like I think a lot of people, there's a couple people online who are mad who want the Mariners to fail. They claim to be Mariners fans, and they're very upset because this is not I'm not subtweeting, sub talking. I can't remember. I don't know the term now.
Sub-Xing? There's no tweet no more. Sub-Xing.
Reposting. I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
call it anymore?
like sub-Xing somebody here, not referencing Matthew. I was like, there are vocal people who want Jerry and all these people fired and all this other stuff, and who have been very against everything. And they find this like, well, this is a super lucky stretch. And I will say that this stretch in August, obviously, they tied tonight. They tied the most wins ever in a month in the Mariners history. They have 2 games against Oakland to break that. So, I mean, hopefully they break that. Now it is lucky, but I would say, like, honestly, most of everybody's just playing to the back of their baseball card. Can you point to somebody other than JP Crawford who's really playing better than they did last year? Like, offensive wise, like Julio's pretty much the same as finally, after this crazy hot streak, got back to the player he was last year. Ty France has been worse. Gino's been worse. Tio's been worse. Cal's been worse. Like, their second baseman until recently has just been, there's been nothing there. Ford can't hit anything right now. Like, so it's just like, honestly, like, and Jared hasn't played for, a month. So it's just like, they're just starting to play like the back of their baseball card. It was frustrating when they were below 500, 4 games below 500. But like, if you looked at it, their pitching was fine, but everything else was going wrong. Like, everything was going wrong, and they were still basically a 500 team. Then when we're like, all right, the bats are like, okay, let's start turning into the back of our baseball card. It all showed up at the same time, so it's fantastic. They're blowing everybody out because everybody's hitting at the same time. But if you look at the back of their baseball cards, they're doing what they should be doing, and the pitchers are doing what the pitchers maybe a little bit better, because the Miller and the Woos are coming up, and the Hancocks have just been lights out. Everybody in the bullpen, but the bullpen is nothing new. Like, everybody, people got mad that they traded Paul Sewald, but 3 years ago, no one who knew who Paul Sewald was. The next sauce man, the Topa, like all these guys. Like, this team has made bullpen guys out of nothing forever. So I think this team finally is just playing to the back of their baseball card. And this is maybe who they've been. Maybe not first place, but like if you told me that they were in the middle, like in a like a playoff spot and fighting at this point, I would not have been as surprised. I think how many games did we all pick at the beginning of the year? Like 90. I said like what 92.
I have 92. I think we were all around 88
Yeah,
to
like
92.
they're on pace to win that right now. And like, did you know how many you said, Kevin? We're probably around there,
I
right?
want to say I said 89. I think I said
Okay, yeah.
89.
3 games difference, like it's not like I think they're on pace technically right now for 92. I can't remember maybe that was before today's game, but like we all basically like this is exactly what we thought. So I think it took a little bit of luck that all of the things went right in this last month, but I think this is basically where they should be at this point in the year. It's weird how we got here. So don't let people tell you that the Mariners are super lucky they're here. They were not lucky at the beginning of the year. They got a little lucky now. And the luck's basically neutral right now. This is who they should have been to start the season. And how they got here with Wong and Pollock being so bad, and then Marlowe, Calzone, and Rojas, who I have never been a fan of Rojas, and he has just been tearing it up right now at second base, and I don't get it, and I'm not gonna complain about it. Like a 130 WRC plus, like he's never gonna be that guy, but I will definitely take it in the time that he's gonna keep doing it. So yeah, I think this is right where the Mariners, maybe a little bit less wins at this point, but basically right here is where I thought they'd be, or hoping they would be when the start of the season rolled around. So
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off Sean, and I'll send it to Kevin. To the fans who say they're lucky, I don't care. Love it. Keep doing it. Like, I know luck is not something that you can consistently do or anything that you're doing to make it happen, but I don't care if they're lucky. Like, this is awesome to watch as a fan
Matthew,
of the Mariners.
I said that on the Seahawks last year, and you got defensive. I literally said,
well, yeah, but you also are just like it's either. Well, I'm not gonna get into that. But they've lost 5 games this month. If you're a fan of the Mariners, how can you not be happy with what you've seen over the last month? And Sean and I got into that Twitter spat on like right before the trade deadline, and at that point I was ready to move on from Jerry, and I gave him blame, and now he deserves credit because he stood the course. He stayed on the course. He didn't really do a whole lot of the trade deadline, like you mentioned. Sean, Paul Sewald brought over Canzone, not Calzone, and Rojas, and it's worked out. So credit to Jerry Dipoto for what he's done. And so this team is clicking on all cylinders. They're having a lot of fun out there. Anytime a guy gets a hit or an RBI, they're all high fiving. The tridents flowing with everybody hitting home runs. Like, it's just a fun team to watch at this moment. And much like we were talking about at the beginning of the month, with how it didn't look so great, it is. I'm going to enjoy this time right now while they are leading the AL West, because I know there's still a month of baseball left, and hopefully we kind of remember this when the Seahawks season rolls around. We won't, but hopefully we kind of realize that the season is much longer than a few games, much longer than a month, much longer than 2 games against division opponents, or whatever you want to kind of look at it from a micro perspective, because ultimately the big picture right now is, yes, the Mariners I'm looking at it right now, they were 55 and 52 to start the month, and we were all kind of, Mariners fans on X were just kind of not sure what to do. And then they just kind of kicked it into gear, and they've lost 5 games this month, and now we're all super happy and loving life and leading the division. And it's really weird how sports can do that. So hopefully we kind of use this as a lesson for perspective when we're watching sports seasons throughout our lives. And I've probably said this before, and I'm going to overreact again when the Seahawks lose to Carolina or whatever. But hopefully.
Sam Darnold doesn't play for them anymore. He plays for the 49ers, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, fair. So hopefully we kind of, I'm going to try and take this lesson into account for myself, because you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. You don't want to get too far behind yourself. Just keep playing. And like Sean said, they're playing to the back of their baseball cards, and it's working out great. So we'll see what September is, because I'm sure we're going to mention the schedule at some point, and it's quite daunting towards the end there for division race, let alone playoffs. So, hopefully they can keep it going. Hopefully they can make the playoffs, and that'd be awesome if they won the division. But right now, I am happy, and that's great. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, it's been a really phenomenal month. I am skeptical because there's a lot of people already saying like World Series and stuff like that. We just need to, reel it back a little bit. I mean, yes, they have the stuff there. Oh God, what are we
It's Dominic Canzone, and it's The Creation of the Animals by Tintoretto 1551. Great, iconic double images right here. So
Yeah,
I had to share
yeah,
that one.
Essentially, the painting was done based off at Canzone and catching that,
Absolutely.
They just added forestry to the background to make it a little bit better instead of a base, But yeah, as we've said before, even when they were struggling, the pitching is there. Like they have the best starting rotation in baseball. Top 3 in bullpen. Like it's there. You didn't need I mean, Seawald was a nice piece, but as you've seen over this past month, like we've mentioned it before, Sean's mentioned it, I mentioned it, you've mentioned it. This team creates arms. Like we find arms and we just groom them. Like every year, everybody's always worried about, like, and then the bullpen just forms. Like people are like, "Oh, why'd you get rid of Swanson? Why'd you, when we traded what's his butt to the
I
Astros?"
forgot we traded Swanson. Yeah, that's a good call, Kevin. I totally spaced that we traded him.
To the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
But like, or when we traded Graveman to the Astros, people were like, "Oh my God, like freaking the like we do arms. That's what we do. Essentially, it's just bats has always been what's been kind of hard, and now we're on. Now, this is what I expect out of Julio. What I see out of Julio is what I expect out of Julio. So that's something you should guarantee to continue to see. Yeah, he'll get a slump every now and then. What I'm seeing out of Teo is what we should see out of Teo. And we should have seen it for the majority of the season. He just started out very, very slow. JP, I think, is a little bit more on a hot streak. Do I think he could get to that potential over, possibly, but I think this is his peak. I don't think it goes further, which is fine. It's good. I'm not saying it's terrible. Like JP's playing good baseball right now. He's playing.
I thought that same thing too, Kevin. He hits a leadoff home run today and hits a double. I'm like,
he's got 2 leadoff home runs in the home stand so far.
Yeah.
Like
I just was like, okay.
He gets
coming
on
off injury too.
Yeah. Ty France was kind of the only thing this season so far that's been kind of a little bit below expectations. He's now kind of warming back up again. Just because we're so more used to seeing more of a power bat. He gets usually more, I mean, he's been getting on base, getting hits, which is good, but we're more used to seeing him getting at least 20 plus bombs, a year. But with the addition of Canzone and Rojas being just solid, rotation pieces, it's created a good vibe, and it honestly, it makes me happy for the offseason because like every time I see Teo hit a home run, he looks jacked and just hyped as crap, which makes you kind of think that maybe that might be an indication that he might want to, stay here. Who knows? If he's having fun with his team and having fun with his, with the guys because there's a bunch of dudes that speak Spanish on this team. Yeah, I mean, he's probably, gelling with the people that are not. I'm not saying he only can gel with that. Sorry if that's terrible, But anywho, it just helps when English is not your second, your first language. There's plenty of guys that you can, do that with. But the starting rotation's just been nutty. Oh my God. Logan Gilbert, Castillo. What's up?
Did you see tonight's game? We went 7 scoreless?
You went 6 scoreless with
6 scoreless.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 5 Ks, 1 walk, no runs. And then the bullpen, Salcido, Campbell, and Thornton all just came in and did their thing. Like you didn't need Brash or Munoz tonight, Tope has been solid too. Like it's just dudes that come in and just get the job done. I mean, now, because I know Mariner fans are going to be now, if they give up a run or so, don't freak out. the other team is paid to play baseball as well.
Kevin's that if you take nothing from this podcast, it is Kevin saying the other team is paid to play sports too.
Yeah, they're
it's
paid
true.
To play.
It's true. It's true.
Like,
You're not wrong.
So many Seattle fans like forget this. They're like, "Oh my god, the Seahawks or the Mariners, the Kraken, they suck." Why? It's just like you realize the other team is trying to win too, right? And it's going to happen. Like you're going to lose. Like even if like you like us ourselves are playing a sport or a game, like you're not going to win all the time. Like I'm not going to go out and bowl 300 and beat my opponents every time. Like I'm going to lose. I lost twice.
Especially in baseball, the worst teams in baseball are going to win 50 games. Like they're going to beat a team 50 times.
I mean, the Oakland A's have
maybe not the A's, but they might be getting.
I mean, the Oakland A's have 38 wins. They have tried to play. They've tried to win. Like
they need 12 more in like 40 games or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll probably.
I'm not saying that they're trying to make playoffs. It's like they're not going out there and just
those players
standing there watching. Balls
guys are playing for jobs and
they're exactly
playing time elsewhere.
Like you're going to play because it's literally these guys are trying to stay. Be good enough to stay on the team for next year so they can get a paycheck playing a professional sport and not having to go work some 9 to 5. Like so they're going to play. Like
also Oakland's a bad example because that team is not trying to win. The players are, but that team
exactly.
is not trying to win. Yeah.
And even if they know they're not going to be there next season, they're playing as an audition for other teams to come get there. Yeah. Like so. Do I expect this hotness to continue? No, we're gonna lose a couple of games. We might maybe lose a series, but we've done enough damage so far that we're in a comfortable spot. Now, I'm not saying we should ease off by any means. You should try to stay in number one, spot, and try to get a bye. That would be amazing if we got a first round bye. But it's just we need to hamper the expectations. Be stoked for this team and get ready for what I believe is going to be a playoff run. I think we're going to be out in the playoffs. It's just
is what you're saying. Like this pace won't continue, right? Like they're not going to continue this forever.
But if we get eliminated in the playoffs, like don't be asking for Depoto's head on the chopping block. Like just knock that off. Like he's gotten you to the playoffs essentially back-to-back years with a roster that at the beginning, like if you had shown me this roster, I'm looking at today's roster. Okay, JP, Julio, Suarez, Teo, Cade Marlowe came in later for Teo. Okay, so France, Moore, Canzone, Caballero, and some dude named O'Keefe at catcher. I would not. I mean, other than Suarez, Rodriguez, and Hernandez in France, not knowing that France would struggle this season, I'm kind of like, is this a winning World Series lineup? Like, no. Especially considering when you look at other teams like Atlanta or like the Dodgers or, I guess now the Orioles. That's kind of weird to say. But I mean, other rosters that have more, Blue Jays have a more well-known roster, things like that. You wouldn't expect that from Nick, but they have found a way. Do I expect it to continue to be? Like I said, it's a hot streak, and I hope we can just ride it, be like the Nationals, and just ride it out to a World Series. That'd be great. But I don't expect that from it. So if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, we use it to add more pieces, and then next year is definitely the time that we should be getting enough pieces in the offseason, hopefully, if the owners
the problem's going to be we can talk about that later. There's one real only piece in the offseason that's available that's going to move any needles, and apparently every baseball team on the planet is going to want that person.
Oh, you're talking about Tony?
And he's on my team fantasy wise, so no one else gets him.
If you look at the upcoming free agents, it's him and like Michael Conforto. Like that's the drop off between 1 and 2. Like there's not bats out there. That's why the rumor has been starting that they're going to trade for Pete Alonso.
Yeah, there's the whole Pete Alonso thing. And then people have been talking about now. I don't think they're going Christian Walker also being possibly on the trade.
But I don't know why Arizona would do
When I saw that too, I was like, why would Arizona trade Christian Walker when they're an up and coming team and they got young players? I'm like, that makes no sense. And they traded to get pieces like Seawald.
Yeah.
But the Mets team, that makes sense. Trying to get Pete Alonso off. That makes complete sense. So
I don't want to give like to Kevin's point, I don't want to give the organization a pass this year, but it's just like Ohtani, the Mariners already offered Ohtani the most money in the last negotiations. He already turned it down. The situation looks a little better this time around, but Ohtani is not just give him the most money is going to come to you. Ohtani is very like, I go to where I'm comfortable. It is the ownership's job to make him most comfortable. But the rumored reason, and it's a pretty reliable source, he didn't come here is because he didn't want to follow in Ichiro's footsteps. There's nothing the Mariners could have done about that. Like, they just can't reverse time. He said, I don't want to like follow and step on Ichiro's like footsteps in like history. And if that's the case, the Mariners can't change that.
All right, here's what we do. We get Ichiro, we send him to talk to Ohtani and tell him, look, you're not going to step on anything, man. You're just going to come here and be a dude. And then
that's what I'm hoping.
We can have me as a coach, and we can win games. It'll be beautiful. It'll be like Field of Dreams, but better with championships. Like
the Mariners are the ones who ended it. I will say this though, Kevin. You are correct. If they like win a series and then lose or something like that, this is like, okay, this is the Mariners are like, we're for real now. Now the next following year, we need to make a real run at this. We need to get a bat. We need to do something. Again, there's not off season. We're not. Why I bring it up is because they will have won 90 games in a row for 3 years in a row. Our friendly buddy named JT has created a sheet that got a lot of likes and everything like that of what is equivalent of wins in baseball versus wins in football. That will be, if this continues and they win 90 plus games this year, that is basically a 10-win season. I will say the Mariners have done that. The other team in Seattle has not done that for 3 years. So I'll just say that. Just do that with the will. You're talking about firing one guy when his team wins games. So I'm just saying.
And I mean, you do have some, I mean, not right now, but coming up, you do have some teams. Like you have the Rays, you're playing the Reds, who nobody expected this season. You have the Dodgers, Texas still.
That final like 12 games is, or like
it's brutal, but the thing is too,
10
like
games.
Okay, so like the Reds, they just don't have any pitching. And so like they're nice, but they're fading. Like they're out of the division now. They're not probably out of the wild card. So it was a nice little run that they had, but I don't know if there's any staying power. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. Like it's just what the Dodgers are. The Rays are Rays. And they have a lot of good teams, but the thing is I've looked at like the Rangers schedule, the Houston schedule, the Blue Jays and the Rays. The good thing about all of these teams is they all play each other. So while we are playing Houston, the next series they go to the Rangers. You just got to kind of win. If you win your series, you're in, because all of these teams, like the Blue Jays play the Rays, they play the Yankees, they play the Red Sox. So it's like if you just take care of your business, you don't even have to sweep anybody. Yeah. Like you said, Kevin, we have a lead. You can even lose a series. You just can't lose a bunch of them. Yeah,
that was kind of the point I was trying to make. Like, is that we're probably going to lose a series. Like our final 3 series is Texas, Houston, Texas. Like we might lose one of those series, and that's fine. Like it's probable. They're good teams. Yeah. They're going to.
Texas is regressing to their norm, though. Yeah, they are not the team they were at the beginning of the year, and their pitching is catching up to them.
But then also you got to put in the fact that like when your butt's against the wall and there's so many games left. And every game kind of, not that all the previous games didn't count, but like it kind of, the pressure builds a little bit more to where like, Texas might, you never know what you might get at Texas or Houston, who knows? Maybe Valdez goes cracked and hits 3 home runs in a game. Like,
well, I just want to put the schedule in perspective. So in August, the Mariners have only lost 2 games within the 9-inning span. 3 of those losses were extra innings. 2 of those losses were to Baltimore in extra innings. So
one came because Cedric Mullins literally robbed a home run.
Yeah. So
and we also got unlucky against the White Sox, pegging Tim Anderson in the back of the head.
Yeah. So to put the month in perspective, like it's been arguably the best month in Mariners
I mean,
history
if
for a
they win,
while. So
if they win tomorrow, it's literally their best month
yeah,
in their
so
franchise. Like,
it's been incredible. And then, like you guys mentioned, the series coming up to end the season. That's also what I want to talk about. They're at the New York Mets for 3 games, following this 3-game series with the A's. Then they're at Cincinnati for 3 games. Then they're at Tampa Bay for 4 games. So that's going to be obviously a big one for possible wild card
okay,
jockeying
so
for division.
here's
Then
here's
they're
a new. Well, hold on. Here's a new rule. So there's no tiebreaker games. It goes there's so like in the Mariners in '95 they had you tied and they play a game. There's none of that anymore. It is tiebreaker rules, common opponents. So these games are important because you have to beat the teams that you're going against for seeding because it's now a head-to-head matchup, not a tiebreaker game anymore. There's no So
after Tampa Bay, they are hosting both Los Angeles teams for 3-game sets, Angels, then Dodgers. Then they're at Oakland for 3, at Texas for 3. Then they end with 7 home games, 3 against Houston, 4 against Texas. So, the schedule, comparing it to August, you got Boston, Angels again, Padres, Orioles, Royals, Astros, White Sox, Royals. So definitely harder schedule. Now I think the Mariners have shown at this point that they are able to compete with any team that is in front of them. So, as I believe Kevin has said many times, and as Sean has reiterated, just win series and you'll be fine. Obviously, you're going to probably lose a few series here and there because you've lost 1 series since
The Orioles series.
the Orioles, yeah.
Oh yeah, the Orioles. But before that, I'm going back. 2 of 3 from Arizona. No, they took 2 of 3 from Boston, 2 of 3 from Minnesota, 2 of 3 from Toronto, Minnesota in early July, right after the All-Star break. So it's been a while since they've lost the series. So it's quite a pace they're on, and obviously it's going to be tough to keep that up. But continue to win games, and I think that things will work out in their favor. So let us know what you think of the Mariners schedule. Go ahead and tweet us. I am Bader Matt. Sean is at Nasty Billy 22. Kevin is at C2Believe SEA2Believe on Twitter. Like our video, subscribe on YouTube. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Let's do a quick prospect watch. I believe I saw some tweets about Harry Ford dominating. Is that what I saw down in the minors?
We haven't talked about Harry Ford in a while. He is.
Sean, give me a prospect watch.
Okay, so if you are in the Modesto area, you need to go watch the Modesto Nuts right now, because that team is probably the most fun team on the planet. Montes is just Kevin, have we talked about him on the podcast? I mean, I think we have, but he's listed at 6'3", 200.
A smidge.
He is he's called Baby Jordan for a reason. That dude is he's a dude. He is a giant. And he's got a 180 WRC plus as an 18-year-old at high A. They called up all of their people. Colt Emerson is absolutely going bananas so far as in a major leaguer. He left a complex league with a 300 WRC plus. Like it just doesn't make any sense. He was hitting 600. Like it's absolute insanity what he's doing. He was their first round pick this year. Ty Pete Matthew, did you see this? He hit 2 grand slams in yesterday's
game. Yes. I did see that.
I hear that's good. His WRC plus is over 200. Just like the only thing that I have for this is all of everyone's like, man, they just don't have a lot of arms coming up. Yes, because they're all in the rotation. Like everybody's here. They have 9 starting pitchers next year. Like that's what you want because they're all up here. Now all the bats are just going absolutely bananas in the minors, and like that's the next. You're gonna replace and you reload and everything like that. Mariners are gonna have they're gonna have 3 of these bats in the top 100 next year, or at the end of the year probably. So when we were talking Matthew, like reloading, like the reloading of the top 100 in this farm system is coming. Like these kids are just like absolutely going bananas. I didn't even mention all of them that got called up. So. Aiden Smith is also tearing it up. Who's also
let me mention to Oakland A's fans, I know you're losing your team, but I Google Mapsed it and you're an hour away from Modesto. So if you want to go watch some good baseball before the A's leave, maybe take an hour drive out on the 580 going east, hit the 132, and you've got some good baseball out there. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Like their 4th-round pick. Sorry, I got the hiccups now. Their 4th-round pick is like doing the worst, and he's got a 130 WRC plus. Like it's just like everybody that they're calling. This doesn't even. Kevin, we also talk about it too. Like, Celestin is not like we didn't even talk about him. Like we were so like, oh my gosh, this kid, and we're not even mentioning him because like these other kids are
Everybody else is
just
going,
killing it right now.
and it's not like he's doing bad. He's
just hurt right now.
Yeah,
and so it's just hurt. Like he has a hamstring. He's finally playing again now, but in the rookie ball. But still, it's just like, and he's 17, so forgive him for not killing it right. Well, he's played actually really well when he played. He's hurt right now, so it's just like, but like, it looks really good for we don't even need to talk about Harry Ford because Harry Ford. He was just in the Tri-Cities, Matthew.
Did you guys go see him?
No, I missed him. We had too many
JT
things
did.
come up. Yeah, JT actually called his game. There you go. Like, radio guy, what's up? Him and Cole Young, both WRC plus is 135 and above right now for the season. Axel Sanchez is hitting again. He was really struggling. He's really heated up again. So I'm just like, their bats are just going bananas right now in the minors. So they might even fall a little bit further on the prospects thing because all of their rookies are now officially going to lose prospect status, like Wu and Miller and Hancock will keep rookie status and minor league status because he got hurt, but they're calling up all their guys basically. But all these bats, man, like Tyler Locklear got promoted. Everyone's talking about Tyler Locklear. I'm just saying, like, watch out for Tyler Locklear, who got promoted to AA. He might. Someone even I heard on a podcast says he's going to be the Mariners' first baseman next year. Tyler Locklear. There you go.
Kevin, any prospect watch from you as well?
I mean, he pretty much kind of named it.
Sorry, I went crazy.
It's essentially almost everybody in Modesto and a good amount in Everett. But yeah, I was gonna read the stat lines for freaking I lost it. For Montez this season, and it's stupid. Hold on, I got it right here. Okay, in 58 games, he's slashing 305, 446, 589, 1.035 with 60 hits, 12 home runs, 54 runs, 53 RBIs, 47 walks, 4 HBPs, 61 Ks, and he has a stolen base for being a big boy too. Like
he's also, I believe, 4 years younger than the average age at his level too.
Yeah,
he's 18. Like he's 18 years old.
He looks like he's 30.
But like, yeah, he like all these guys we mentioned. Aiden is 19, but everybody else is like 18 years old.
Yeah,
like they are like so young for this thing, and they're killing it. Like they're killing it right now. So yeah, they're absolutely going bananas.
BANANAS.
All right. Well, Mariners are doing well now, and hopefully the future is bright as well. If you want to let us know what prospects you're watching and how you're reacting to the Mariners leading the AL West at this moment on August 28th, go ahead and tweet us. I am at Baderscore Matt. Sean is at NastyBailey22. Kevin is at C2Believe. That's SEA2Believe on Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Like our videos, dislike them. If you don't like our takes, that's fine. Our takes age beautifully like fine wine, just like everyone's on X does. Next week, hopefully, we are planning to be back, and we are going to do our NFL and Seahawks preview and prediction show. We should have JT the Ginger on once again. And until then, we will see you next time on Washington, East to West Sports. Bring back our Sonics.